Thank you for joining us in today's edition of CU G Connect Forum. This program is powered by G Consulting International Services, and at G Consulting International Services we offer various business development and consultancy services across agribusiness, across every other sector of the economy, manufacturing, microfinance, and ICT. And so you are out there, you are having challenges in one form or the other in your business, reach out to us with the numbers on your screen, and you are sure to get the services that will advance your business forward. Now, on the program today, we have the Group Managing Director of G Consulting International Services in the person of Mr. Godfrey Ajayi Sunday to help us to understand the issues of the moment. A lot of issues are on ground, and join me now to welcome Mr. Godfrey Ajayi Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Osailome. It's ever refreshing every time we have to do analysis with you. And the feedback coming is that the MSMEs are actually benefiting. It's so sad now at the reality of what we are facing as a nation. And I want to apologize on behalf of the government to all the MSMEs. And in the last 6 months, we've had record of a lot of MSMEs going under. It's very sympathetic, it's very painful, and that's why we urge you to follow us to see how we can actually remain in business and continue to be able to sustain our enterprise. We're passionate about what you guys are doing there, the MSMEs, and we're happy to be able to relate with you to provide solutions to be able to run in business. It's painful when you sack people, you're unable to pay them. It's painful when you are unable to continue in your business. So we want to apologize today on behalf of what is happening, and we pray that we work together towards being able to see how we can sustain going forward. So Mr. Osai, welcome to today's session, and as usual, we're going to be brainstorming.
Yes.
We're going to be predicting. We're going to be finding solutions, at least to help the government to be able to see how they can actually move things forward. In the United States of America, we're all aware that the MSME is one driving the economy.
Yeah.
So why can't we do same
in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Now, that is very, very interesting analogy, because it's generally accepted MSMEs are the engine room for every economy. And like the GMD is saying, we want to salute you for your tenacity, for being there irrespective of all the challenges that has been thrown at you, even some driven by government policies, and other environmental factors. But on the program today, we would like the GMD to help us to understand some issues, which will start with the presidential address, because since the emergence of this administration, the President Tinubu's administration, a lot of tough policy decisions has been made, and we want to see how these decisions, of course we know they are far-reaching in terms of negative impact it's having on your businesses, negative impact it's having on the economy, but in the long term, as we have been told, it might, have some positive externalities. But at the moment,
the fear is, let the people not die.
Yes.
Before those policies crystallize. That's just the fear. Now that's what the people are saying. That look, the policies are too tough.
Too tough.
Yeah. An average housewife now has turned to an analyst, and of course, when they go to the markets, and
Yes.
I mean, maybe before you used to give them 100,000, and it's now buying goods of what 30,000 could buy before
for 50,000.
So it's very, very daring now. So, and somebody said this morning that look, this government didn't give us time to remove the
subsidy.
So we should not give them time to be able to roll out for us to be able to benefit, especially at the MSME level. So the government, the president has taken his time to roll out, and every time he talks, he's very passionate about the people. But there's
a disconnect between what he's saying and what is happening on ground.
On ground. I just imagine for the workers that have to go to work.
Yes.
Talk about transportation. I mean, their salary will hardly be able to even take them to the workplace. So what is the government saying? So the president took out time, which is quite timely. At least we have a president that is talking to us now. But we have to go beyond
talking.
We have to go beyond. He has made a lot of promises. He's talking about the 500 billion for the MSMEs.
Yes.
So I need us to, look at that so that the MSME can prepare themselves. It's not the first time a sitting government will be talking about 500 billion for
intervention funds.
For the intervention fund. So there have been policies on agri, there have been policies on the MSMEs. But again, this time around, I need us to, drill down to see how is this 500 billion going to be released? How is it going to affect the people? So, because if you don't take time, politics may step in to say, okay, we voted for this government, so we are the one to benefit. So we have a sitting government now. Once you are a sitting government, you are now a president to everybody. Both the people that voted for you and the people that didn't vote for you. Of course, this election was very unique in the sense that the people that didn't vote were more than the people that voted. So what do I mean by that? You had the Labour Party, you have the PDP. So if you combine the vote that they had, it's more than what the president used in winning.
Exactly.
So that means that the people that didn't support him are more in number.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 500
billion. Yeah, so I think this is one thing that the government has come up with as a palliative for the MSMEs, and so it becomes very important now. I think it's still in the very rudimentary stage in which the government have not come out clearly to define the criteria that they are going to use to distribute this funding, and so we are going to tap into the experience and expertise of the GMD so that you can better begin to prepare and position yourself as an SME. How do you, what is the mind of government? What are they thinking on how they are going to distribute this funding, on the categories of MSMEs that are going to, access this funding, so that you can better begin to prepare yourself? So, GMD sir, what do you think the government is looking at?
During the, what was it called? The last issues that happened in the world. Now we're talking about 500 billion. Who should get it? How should they get it?
Yes.
That's what we're going to be talking about. And it's clearly stated that it's directed at the MSMEs. That's the micro, small, and medium.
They introduced another component, the nano SMEs.
Okay, the nano SMEs. Okay, those are just the ones before the
micro.
The micro. Okay, so that concept has been there for quite a number of time. Okay, so if we are going to use the BVN approach, that's the banks have account number of most of these people, and they have their BVN.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we use the BVN, we might be making an error.
Okay.
In the sense that quite a number of people up to now are not financially included. So if you decide to say you want to use the option of the BVN, quite a number of people will still not access that. And you may also be targeting the wrong people. Because again, somebody mentioned the fact that, look, since Mr. President came in, he has never used the word corruption. Okay? And somebody else now said the last government, the corruption was their mantra. And again, corruption was their watchword, but the government was said to
have been the one of the most corrupt governments.
Okay, so looking at the option of the BVN, if you use that, those who do not have a account number will be excluded. So some people now say, okay, let us use the national identity card option.
Yes.
And another school of thought is even saying that quite a number of people are not being benefited. But since we're talking about the MSMEs, and we have said now that, okay, we should even include the nano people.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that this government is talking about tax as a way of increasing revenue. So why not we look at the last 3 years, the MSMEs that have been
paying tax.
They have been paying tax. Okay, and again, paying tax does not necessarily, if you are able on a yearly basis, able to do your audited account, to be able to get registered with the Federal Inland Revenue Services, then you might be targeting the real MSMEs. And again, this will help the government. How will it help the government? It will help government to bring new people into the tax brackets.
Yes.
Okay, so if you are targeting the real MSME, the people who are actually have been in business, those who have gone to Federal Inland Revenue Service and they have their tax identification number. So if you use that, you might be targeting now the real MSMEs. So for those of us who are yet to be able to register, this is an opportunity to quickly go and get your tax
certificate
and identification number. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make profit.
Yeah.
So if we do that, we will be targeting the people who are in business and who are active right now. I know quite a number of people will disagree with me, but I think that if we do this, it will encourage quite a number of people to come into the tax brackets, and it will help them to begin to focus and begin to do real business, because there are quite a number of people who even register just for the sake of the fact that and what happens is that anytime they have opportunity of maybe doing contract or
portfolio
MSMEs. So we need to be able to identify those portfolio MSMEs and drop them and get the real people. And that's where we come in.
That's where the value is.
Yeah,
that's where the value is. And
that's where we come in as an MSME friendly organization to say, look, as for all to actually drive, we need to create employment creation. Is what we help this government. Okay, now there are a lot of things that is happening there. The government needs to create jobs right now. If people are working, if people are having something to do, they will not have problem paying. Being able to get money to do transportation and to be able to come to work to go and work.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it critically, quite a number of people are unemployed.
Very much.
As we're talking to you
exactly.
now. So government through this must be able to create employment and get the real MSME, focus on them, and with the tax thing that we're talking about, it will now also help them to categorize who are the nano
based on their tax reports.
Yes, both based on their tax report. Who are the micro? Who are the small enterprises? Who are the large enterprise? And our argument has always been that if you are a micro enterprise right now, it's not a sentence. It's not a death sentence.
It's not a crime.
So if you are micro, you should be aspiring to be able to say, look, I want to be small. Okay, so from small you want to be medium. From medium you want to be large, and that's how we can establish the growth.
Yeah, because the truth of the matter is that previously we have a situation where most government policies don't really achieve its objectives, and the simple reason is that the implementation process is not well articulated and fully executed, and this begins with, especially for intervention funds like this, begins with identifying the real,
players.
Yeah. And for whatever it is, we used to tell people when we do some of this entrepreneurship training that if you want to be as big as Dangote, for instance, you need to also begin at the level you are, begin to practice some of those things that Dangote practices. And so part of that is for you to be able to understand that you need to pay your tax. Now, paying tax does not mean that you are going to pay money that you don't have. All right?
Yeah.
If you didn't make a certain amount of profit, like the government has made it very clear, if you didn't meet the threshold of 25 million, you are not expected to pay tax, but you are expected to make your tax returns.
Which is very, very important.
Yes.
Which makes you serious.
Which makes you a serious business.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
There were some previous programs like the AXMIS program.
Yes.
We're a major player in the AXMIS program. That's the Agribusiness SME Investment Scheme. That starts from the fact that an entrepreneur, before you can access that loan facility, you have to get trained.
Yes.
And quite a number of people were trained under that program. Of course, the controversial Anchor Borers program, I think we should do a post-mortem analysis
on the program
of Anchor Borers program, because along the line, the government missed it. What do I mean by that? When you say Anchor Borers program, what that word anchor means is that the entire program is anchored on an MSME. Okay? And an MSME is the one that's supposed to profile the farmers that will work with him to be able to produce the raw material that will now be used for processing. But along the line, they brought in the government arm to say, look, a state government can guarantee.
Yes.
And the moment you bring in government into whatever you're doing,
into business,
of course, you know that there's a problem. So I think that this government, looking at the micro, small, medium enterprises, they should go back and look at programs like the AXMIS program. That's the Agribusiness SME Investment Scheme. That started with training. You must be trained before you access that loan facility. Okay? So now, after that, we need to go back to the anchor borrowers program and do a postmortem analysis and to see, look, who are the real anchors now? Who are those rice mills? Who are those processing mills that, you know, are connected to the farmer using the outgrower scheme? And once you have a program like the outgrower scheme, there will be direct production and the real farmer. And of course, again, we've also now come up with a national farmers database that connects farmers now to
their farms, to their land.
To their land. Okay, so the issue of political farmer will be eliminated by that way. So when you have that, you have this kind of MSME scheme, you profile the farmer, attach them to their farmland, then give them the inputs to be able to produce, then the anchor will now come into take those produce and they now process. And before you know, the economic starts again to become vibrant. So there you cannot sell, you cannot take the outcome of that to that, because the farmers are real farmers that are tied down to their farmland. And of course, from the comfort of your office using technology, you can zoom in to actually see these farmers are producing at the right time and producing for an anchor who is the processor that will process eventually. So we must do a post-mortem analysis of the anchor borrowers program and redirect it to do the actual thing now. And of course, you know, everybody bought into the anchor borrowers program until, you know, they brought in the
political element.
The political element into that equation. So the 4,500 billion
SME fund
that Mr. President is going to work. But again, we must go back to the failures of the past program so as to avoid that
making the same mistake.
Future.
All right, so that is very interesting. I believe as for you as an SME, these are pertinent issues that pertains to your growth and development. And like we said, at G Consult International Services, we can help you to prepare you for some of these opportunities that are going to come. So don't take time, don't waste any time. Check out our profile on our website or the phone numbers that will be showing on your screen, and reach out to us so that we can see how we can work together to see that you are prepared for these coming opportunities. Now, GMD, let us move to the other issue for today, which is the issue of Mr. President. You know, in that his address, was talking about the government having saved about 1 trillion naira, you know, within these few weeks or few months of his administration. And there are people that are asking, so where is this money?
Yeah, so where is the money? Okay, so this is not the first time a government will say is saving money. I remember in the days of Amechi, when he was governor of Rivers State, he had a policy to say every month he will be saving $1 billion naira for the people of Rivers State. So it takes you back to the question now, where is that money? So
it has grown wings.
So 1 trillion naira in 2 months looks fantastic. But again, where is the money?
Yes.
Is it there, or is an expectation? Okay? Because again, if you have saved 1 trillion for us and we are suffering this much, then I see a problem with that. Okay? So if you have saved 1 trillion, how do we plow back that 1 trillion
into the economy,
into the life of the people now? Okay? Because I happened to I was part of an outgrower scheme training conducted by one of the development partners. And, you know, when we started rolling out figure about a proposed outgrower scheme that they were trying to introduce. And when he's from South Africa, so when we started rolling out billions, you know, and the world seems very very
Heavy.
big to his ear. I said, okay, let us convert it to dollar so that we can be on safe ground. I mean, in those days, our budget was in billions.
Yes.
But now, our budget is in
trillions.
trillion. And somebody is, Mr. President is saying that he has saved 1 trillion. Then he must
in
be
2 months.
He must be a genius. So how will this money impact
the people
on the life of the people, which is very, very important now. So he's saying he wants to give back that 1 trillion to the economy, and part of which is saying, okay, 500 billion for the MSME. So, but the question is, who takes us back to subsidy again? Some people are saying subsidy is a
scam.
It's a scam. So, is this 1 trillion? Is it real, or we just want to bounce figures on the ear of the people to make them happy?
Yes.
But I must tell you, we are in the field. We are supporting MSMEs. We are helping them. The MSME are not smiling.
They are not smiling.
They are not smiling at all.
There's no joy.
So this 1 trillion, I don't know whether it's real or is another way to tell us that
to cook up hope for the hopeless.
So if it's there, we need to quickly start deploying. And there are quite a number of ways that this money can be deployed. And we'll try to suggest that now to say, okay, from the 500 billion that Mr. President is saying, to target the real productive sector, who are the micro, small, medium enterprises, you can use their tax return in the last 3 years to target them and categorize them
and
into nano, micro, small, medium, and begin to, I mean, if I wake up today, at least I can boast now that my enterprise is at the level of medium.
Yes.
So if I wake up tomorrow and I see an alert of say about 5 million in my account, then I will know that the government is working. And you'll be sure that we are going to use it judiciously.
Exactly.
We have a rice mill now in Abaji that we need to get a color sorter as soon as possible. And because of the unification of the exchange rate, you know, of course we couldn't buy because the exchange rate was so high, but it has even further gone up right now.
Yes.
So why can't government do something as to say like car conversion strategy, to say, look, for the first set of 1 million cars, we're going to pay an average of 300,000 for you to convert those cars. Okay, so that will remove pressure automatically from the use of petrol to gas now. And if you make that kind of move from the 1 trillion that we're talking about now, we're saying government is going to convert the first 1 million cars free of charge. So people who are interested will bring up their car immediately and you get conversion for them. So when you do conversion, you will divert attention from the petrol to the CNG. Okay? So once you do that, the people converting the car, you create employment for them.
Yeah.
Okay? The people selling CNG, you create employment for them. Do you understand? The mechanics, new set of mechanics now, you create jobs for them. So, of course, once you create job immediately, everything will jumpstart, and you have just created another set of new jobs, and you have removed pressure from the petrol that we are talking about right now. So, the 1 trillion, if it's available, let a portion of it go immediately. Let it go immediately to car conversion. Okay, let another portion go and bring buses, electric buses. Okay, immediately. I mean, Lagos State government have quickly announced 50% reduction in cost of transportation, because we have that transportation scheme right now. So, if 1 trillion is there is what to do with it.
There is what to be done with it. All right. So, and the NSC is arguing that there is no money anywhere, and I think that is part of why they are on the street now. So what are we going to do with regards to this protest that they have started? When is it going to end? What is the impact on businesses that are even struggling already with the current economic realities?
Yeah, well, it's long overdue for Labour to go to the streets, because we've been hearing threats as like they are toothless
bulldogs.
But today they've been able to
actualize the protest.
Actualize that protest. So, what are the gains of the protest now? Number one, government knows that, you know, they have an opposition now in Labour to be able to direct them actually wrong. Okay, and I've taken time to listen to Labour, And I feel, for me, they are trying to draw government to the reality. And one of the key components of what Labour is saying is that, look, they are not against subsidy removal. But they are saying that before you remove subsidy, the refinery must be working, which make a logical sense. And just like I mentioned in the course of us discussing that Mr. President, since he became president, has never used the word corruption. He has not also come to tell you that this is what we're doing to
fight corruption, or to make the refinery to work.
Make the refinery to work.
Because corruption has been the tailwind of the refineries.
So that is with Dangote were swallowing saliva that
it was going to
by
become
August,
by July.
Let's even say August. We're in August.
We're in August.
But somebody said, like, we're not sure which of the August. Is it 2023
or 2024
or 2024 or 2025? So that is a big dilemma for me, because when President Buhari went to go and commission the Dangote refinery in Lagos, we were happy.
High hopes.
We were having high hopes. But they are now saying July, August. And we're not sure which of the July, August now, because we have crossed July now. We are now in August. And when Mr. Dangote is not...
He's not talking.
He's not talking.
Why he's just quiet?
He's not talking. Somebody says, look, the crude is locally extracted. Okay, so if you really want to help us, even though we know that crude is an international commodity, but again, you cannot have a commodity. It's like a farmer grows corn in his backyard or in his farm. He decides to sell all the corn
to another community. Then go and buy a roasted corn from the community.
And he's now crying that he doesn't have corn to eat. You can see the irony of what we are passing through.
Okay.
So I think it's a simple problem. People are talking about the World Bank, IMF dimension to these things. It's a very simple arithmetic. We're producing crude in Nigeria, so we can say to ourselves in naira to avoid that forex that pressure that is coming to us. So if we sell in naira to ourselves,
to Dangote refinery now.
Yes, we refine it here and we sell back to us
in naira.
There's no way you can tell me that where we get to as much as 617.
It's not possible.
That we're currently experiencing now.
The ripple effect of that, even on the forest exchange.
And
the pressure on our.
Because if you don't, now that we have unified the
forest
exchange, what is happening now is that Labour kept quiet because as at the time it was announced. Fuel was around 537.
Yes.
Okay. All of a sudden, fuel is now 617. And there is threat that
it's going to go to 1,000.
It's going to go to 1,000. Yes. So that is where the problem is. So we must first of all think of how to stabilize. And how to stabilize is that the crude is sourced locally. It should be priced locally. And once it's priced locally, we should refine locally and be able to sell locally. And when you talk about smuggling across the West African region, the simple solution is for NNPC to replicate the filling station across West Africa and sell at uniform price. Okay? Because a situation where you have now, people in Cameroon were protesting that why did we remove subsidy in Nigeria? Because their governments, because we're getting fuel at a cheaper price across to them, even at smuggle rate, the government refused to, in those West African countries, stop importing fuel for their country because they were getting from
black market
Nigeria, which is still within range. Okay, so simple. You have Nigerian banks now across the world. Okay, I don't want to mention names of banks, but you have Nigerian banks across the world. Why can't you have Nigerian affiliate stations across West Africa? That will keep the price uniform, okay? And it will also help us to sell, because if we are doing local and they have to come here to buy in dollar from us, then we are in business. And that's another way to create this employment that we are talking about. So the simple solution is that NLC have drawn government attention, but again, they should not lose sight of what they are fighting for, which is to say, look, let refineries work. And Mr. President must use two words today. He must use the word corruption. How he's going to tackle it.
Because corruption has been the problem.
Because I know that in Lagos, he was able to build institutions. Maybe that he doesn't want to talk about that. He rather want to build institutions. If he's able to build institutions that will tackle corruption, so that if you fall short of the law, let the law go after you. Okay? So once the law is able to go after you, then the second word he needs to use is that he's going to get the refineries to work. Whether it's going to be public or private or purely private. He has the wherewithal. He's an oil and gas personality, so he cannot pretend or tell us that he doesn't know what the solution is. So Labour should remain focused on the fact that, look, before you call off this strike, let government make categorical statements about the local capacity, the local refining capacity, and when it's going to start. I listened to the people in Lagos. What they were saying is the deputy governor was making a remark, and they are asking him, what time are we going to start? All this remark you are making, give us time.
What time? Give us timeline.
So that's where we are now.
I think on that note, we will be wrapping up the program for today. But the most important thing for you is there is an opportunity that is coming, 500 billion intervention fund for SMEs that is going to be distributed by the government. You need to be prepared. Like the GMD has pointed out, the government is currently carrying on how they are going to distribute that fund, and we are here saying that it is possible that they are going to use the tax payment approach, to be able to categorize beneficiaries for that program.
Before we go, I want to talk to the MSME.
Yes.
To say, look, people are jackparing. Set up enterprise here that you are able to jackpot with. If you go to Canada, if you go to Europe, if you go to America, they are looking for people to be able to set up enterprises.
Yes.
So why can't you, the enterprise that you have today, why can't you think about how to migrate it? Not just you jackpotting now, but you are jackpotting with your enterprise to go and be able to set up there. And I tell you, you will have more respect if you are able to achieve that. So think about the enterprise you are doing in Nigeria. Can you set it up in Canada? Can you set it up in America? They welcome those kind of ideas. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who had worked in African Development Bank, and he told me that, look, MSMEs are well cherished in a place like Canada. That if you choose to say you don't want to work, you want to be an MSME, you get a free training. And you get an incentive to say, look, there are some businesses you can run from your car.
Yes.
You don't have to have an office or a bogus place. And government puts you on certain stipends until your enterprise is able to stabilize. So don't just think about how to jackpot alone. Think about how this enterprise could be taken to a place like America. And once you get there, you stabilize, have a branch back here again. Okay, so that you can have a cross-border kind of enterprise. So in that case, you don't have to be too dependent. You don't have to fail moving forward. So the future of Nigeria is in the micro, small, medium enterprise, and you're already there. Okay, you can be an artisan, you're having issue. Please scroll through our bar and reach out to us. We'll help you grow your business in these trying times.
On that note, thank you very much, and we'll wait to hear from you. God bless you.